Secretary of State Antony Blinken wrapped his trip to China today with a meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. This week's visit is part of an effort to stabilize relations between the two countries. While in Beijing, Secretary Blinken also urged China to end its support of Russia's war in Ukraine, despite their no-limits relationship with Moscow.
Russia would struggle to sustain its assault on Ukraine without China's support.
CBS News intelligence and national security reporter Olivia Gazis has more from Washington. Olivia, thanks for joining us. So what else did Secretary Blinken discuss with Chinese officials during this trip?
Sure. Well, Elaine, as this is one of the most consequential bilateral relationships in the world, the secretary was tasked with covering a lot of territory in his 3 days there. I think a few things stood out from his remarks this morning. One, he noted that China has stepped up its efforts to curb fentanyl precursor chemicals, which he said were welcome but still had room for improvement and that they needed to be sustained. Blinken mentioned that they would be working on a first-ever bilateral set of talks on artificial intelligence as the U.S. and China are both grappling with how to responsibly use that technology. And he said he raised the need for China to weigh in with Iran in particular to try to calm tensions in the Middle East. He said they were actually pretty effective in the lead-up to and in the aftermath of Iran's attacks on Israel earlier this month. And as you just played there, most notably this trip, he foreshadowed some unspecified action that the U.S. was willing to take if China doesn't stop helping Russia in its war effort in Ukraine. That has, of course, arisen as a major new challenge in this relationship.
Well, overall, Olivia, why is Secretary Blinken's trip to China so significant for Washington-Beijing relations?
Sure. Well, this is his second trip to China as secretary and his first since last June, which itself was something of a diplomatic breakthrough because it followed those months of heightened tensions after that spy balloon incident that nobody can forget. His visit also follows one by Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen earlier this month. And you can see that Blinken had a distinctly different reception. There were much fewer red carpets, for example. And that's precisely because he's the one in this administration charged with tackling those harder, more contentious issues in the relationship, things like human rights in China, Americans who are still being detained there, tensions related to Taiwan, and now, of course, this added thorn of China helping Russia in its war effort. So it's definitely meaningful that there's been this steady clip of diplomatic interactions between the U.S. and China. For a time, those were totally frozen. But it's also quite telling that some of the fundamental challenges in the relationship, in most cases, aren't budging at all, and in some cases, are only getting harder.
Telling indeed. Well, let's turn to Israel. Secretary Blinken has determined 3 IDF units committed human rights violations in the West Bank before October 7th. However, the administration is not moving forward with penalties at this time. Now, 1 unit is still being evaluated. What can you tell us about this and why the State Department appears to be holding off on any action for now?
Well, we've learned all of this on the basis of a letter that CBS News obtained that by Secretary Blinken to House Speaker Mike Johnson sent last Saturday ahead of that crucial supplemental vote in Congress. And what Blinken laid out in that letter is that 2 IDF military units and 2 civilian units have been determined to have committed gross human rights violations that the Israeli government had since taken steps to remedy. In the case of 1 unit, though, those remediation steps have not to date been taken in the view of the secretary. So the reason things are still on hold and the U.S. hasn't suspended aid to that unit as it would be required to do by law is that Israel has now provided some new information that Blinken and presumably a lot of lawyers at the State Department are now evaluating. Blinken, of course, happened to have gotten an earful from Israeli officials who have said that a move like this would set a dangerous precedent in the decades-long security relationship between the U.S. and Israel. But on the other hand, of course, there's this mounting pressure on the administration to ensure that Israel is being held to the same standard on human rights as all the other countries in the world. So we'll have to see where he ultimately comes down on this issue.
Olivia Gazis in Washington for us. Olivia, thank you.
Thanks, Elaine.